Guys, why did you reject the pretty girl? Story 1. In college, I didn't make a move on a former homecoming queen, who is now a Broadway actress, despite her putting over moves on me first. I'd like to say it's because I had my eyes set on the quirky artistic girl instead. It's true, I did choose to date the quirky art girl right afterward, but that wasn't it. I'd like to say it was because I found out the only reason she put the moves on me at all was because I'm a dead ringer for her ex-boyfriend. That was true also, but wasn't the reason. The reason I didn't reciprocate her moves was because I was chicken poop terrified, and she was and still is so far out of my league. I need an Amtrak ticket to get within a point. Sometimes it can be like that. I'd like the record to show she was a delightful person, and the whole I look like your ex thing, while kinda weird, was not really an indication of anything beyond her having a type, I suspect. Now she's with a totally cut actor dude. I am not a totally cut actor dude. I have a belly and tattoos and a mustache. Leagues don't exist, my man. It's all in your head. Leagues definitely do exist. This isn't to be confused that people should feel their insecurities, or imperfection should hold them back in pursuing anyone, or that there can most definitely be examples of opposites attract in various scenarios. But let's not kid ourselves here. There are definitely leagues. Show me a gorgeous female doctor who looks like a supermodel with a nice house, stable career, perfect teeth and body, loving family and active lifestyle, who is dating the charming busboy from Olive Garden because of his winning personality. You can jump up from the minors to the majors, but let's not pretend the leagues don't exist. It's weird that loving family has to be an indicator of a potential mate to someone. I have a lot going for me, but a loving family is definitely not one of them, lol. I tell you, you really do not want to be dealing with the drama of terrible in-laws. I think everyone is going to think their SO or crotch is out of their league no matter who they are, solely because most think less of themselves, especially when it comes to people they like. In the end though, we're all just human, and looks are really only skin deep. Yes, they definitely play a very large part, but it's important we don't get lost in things that in the end don't matter. Story 2. I dated a gorgeous, perfect 10 girl for a few months and then broke it off. The problem was that she had no personality and no sense of humor. I'm afraid she may not have been very smart. Either that or she believed that the man should take control of every situation and make every decision. It got very frustrating having conversations like, "Where do you want to eat?" "I don't care, whatever you pick is fine." "What should we do this weekend?" "Whatever you want is okay with me." "What kind of music do you like?" "I'm not picky." She would laugh at all of my jokes, but I don't think she got any of them. She would laugh the same laugh every single time, no matter what kind of joke it was. And I know some of my jokes were funny, dang it, and she was a cold fish in the bedroom. She never showed any preference for anything in particular. I had to make all the moves every single time, and she would just lie there. That made me second guess myself. Is it me? Am I missing something? I think I know what I'm doing. My partners have always had fun before, so I eventually broke it off. It was just no fun anymore. Yes, she was very beautiful, but she was boring. Or maybe it was me. Maybe I was just wrong for her, but I could never find out if she was happy or not, so I just gave up. My friends thought I was insane for breaking off with her. I didn't go into details why because I didn't want to talk badly about her, so I just said didn't work out and left it at that. When I broke up with her, she smiled the same smile she always smiled and said, "Okay," and that was it. I found out months later from one of her girlfriends that she was heartbroken over it. Heartbroken. I wanted to bash my head into a wall. How was I supposed to know she even cared? She never showed any emotion over anything. I felt terrible about breaking her heart, but she never gave me a single clue that she cared about anything. You gotta give me something to work with. Communication is important, kids. Communication is very important. I think asking her about and trying to get a feel of how she feels would have been a better option, especially knowing that she was heartbroken because she did in fact care. Some people just have strange ways of showing emotion and love, and those kinds of talks are really important ones to have. Story 3. I'm gonna go with the opposite of everyone else here. She was perfect. Beautiful, fun, funny, loving, interesting, motivated, supportive, successful. Maybe not perfect, but her imperfections made her even more lovable. How obsessive she would get over little things, her temper when defending me, her stubbornness in switching your meals at a restaurant if mine looked better. She taught me that even a 10 out of 10 woman is still a human being, with all the same insecurities and idiosyncrasies as everyone else. It wasn't her that was the problem, it was me. The problem was that I learned that relationships just aren't for me. I had everything you could ask for, and no matter how much I lied to myself and tried to adapt and change and fit the mold, I just couldn't be happy. Not because she was asking me to, or wanted me to, or forcing me to, far from it, but because I was struggling to give her what she deserved. I was so unhappy and more miserable by the day. The breaking point was when I realized I was changing her. She was adapting to suit me, becoming someone who wasn't happy either and changing to someone she was not. And I realized that it wasn't fair. She deserved someone better. I also realized this was a streak with me. All girls I would see and date would come back to this point for me. And when I finally accepted the idea that I don't want to ever be married or have kids, it felt like a huge rock lifted off my chest and I could finally breathe. My future feels like blue sky, mountain air, free and bright. I know society teaches you that being single means you're a loser, that love and togetherness is where the heartbeat of life is, and that loneliness is normal. But I stopped accepting that BS. I never felt lonely ever. I have lots of relationships with friends and family, and have more than enough love, and more than I deserve, frankly. And I feel like I've succeeded because I have what so few get. I understand what makes me happy. I think she's moved on now, and instead of being jealous or upset, I couldn't be happier, because I love that girl, and I want her to be happy, and I'm happy she's in a relationship that accepts her as she is, and fulfills her needs. And I love being single. I know cold is rocking people and I'm sorry to hear it, but I feel like I'm so fortunate to be a person who's perfectly happy in his own company and never tires of it, and I never will. I'm glad you're happy, and it takes a big man to admit all that to their SO and not drag them down with them, because then both people are miserable, and that's how fights and divorces etc. happen. You did a good thing letting her be free and find someone that wants what she wants too. I wish you both nothing but the best. Story 4. I grew up in a summer resort town, and a girl my age would spend summers at a cottage in my neighborhood. She always had a boyfriend, like since she was 12, because she was an absolutely beautiful girl. We got along well in our teens and into college, but I wouldn't say we had a flirty friendship or anything like that. I just always felt like she was out of my league, and also me and my brothers were good friends with her other siblings and cousins. Summer before my senior year in college, mid-90s, we met up for drinks with a few other people from our neighborhood. She casually mentions that she broke up with her boyfriend a few weeks before, but I didn't think anything of it. I noticed she kept cozying up to me and eventually asked me to walk her home. We kissed and she told me she always liked me, and then we started dating just before going back to college. After like 3 times together, I realized I had never really been alone with her, and that she had the personality of an 8-year-old. Constant baby talk, and she only watched cartoons and the Disney Channel. We had absolutely no common interests whatsoever. We couldn't even go to the movies together because she had trouble with anything above a PG rating. We ended up dating for about 5 months, but I just couldn't take it anymore. Some of my friends still give me a hard time for dumping the hottest girl I have ever seen, but we all have our limits, I suppose. Too long didn't read, ended up dating a lifelong crush in my early 20s, and it felt a lot like babysitting, so I dumped her. Never meet your heroes. That's what happens when you're in a constant relationship from a young age. I had an ex like that. We were 22 and she still acted like a 14-year-old. It's like Arrested Development. People need to be single and improve themselves. Holy cow, that's the common denominator. I never put it together, but those are the same people because those traits always annoy me separately. When you're constantly with someone, there's never any room to grow as a person, and then you just get stuck. I really don't blame you dumping her, no matter how hot she may have been. And honestly, it might have been the best thing for her, and maybe she'll take some time for herself and work on herself alone. I hope. Story 5. I accidentally turned down a girl I had a massive crush on in middle school. I convinced myself she was the one I was going to end up with, marry, etc. Turns out she actually liked me too, and her brother would literally walk past me at school and yell, "My sister likes you," but I just assumed he was trolling me or something. Well, one day we were on the train home after school, and her friend suddenly and mysteriously disappeared to another carriage, leaving her and I alone together. She asked, "Hey, I was wondering, do you have a crush on me?" As she leaned in hopefully for my answer. How did I react to this situation? I started rummaging through my school backpack pretending I was looking for something, and changed the subject to some dumb thing that my brother did on the weekend. She leaned back in her seat and looked visibly disappointed. Now why did I do this, you ask? Because I heard the statistics of how unlikely relationships were to last if they started at that age. So I told myself we weren't ready yet. I was going to wait 5 more years until we'd left school before I made my move. Because then it would last, I told myself. Of course I waited so long that she eventually lost interest and we drifted away. Yeah, teenage me has some strange ideas about love and relationships. When I was in high school, my best friend was a girl who I had a massive crush on, and who clearly had one on me as well. But teenage me was the type to have a new girlfriend every couple of months, and I didn't want to turn my best friend into another ex-girlfriend. We're now 30, have been dating for a year and a half, and plan on getting married next year. Teenage love is such a funny thing to look back on. Cringy as all heck when it's yourself, but funny when it's someone else. Definitely fumbled the bag, but maybe in the end it was for the best. Who knows? Also, the fact that you were mature enough not wanting to make your best friend another ex speaks volumes about your character, and I'm so happy to hear you guys are getting married soon. Story 6. I've rejected many. Tinder is a maelstrom of crazy stuff for sure. It blows my mind at how many people seem to outright expect me to have low self-esteem. If I get the sense that they feel like they're doing me a favor by simply being there, then there isn't going to be a second date. If you're rude to waitstaff, there isn't going to be a second date. If you have the personality of a wet turkey sandwich, there isn't going to be a second date. If you're always on your phone, there isn't going to be a second date. If you play hard to get, as soon as I pick up on it, I'm gone. The thing that bothers me the most is that all these games are so remarkably common, and it has me really discouraged that I'm ever going to find someone who's up to my standards, which aren't steep in my opinion. Whenever I tell them it isn't working out, I more often than not get something along the lines of, "You're not cute enough to be this stuck up. I'm a guy, so yeah, I get it. Rejection sucks." And I'll let them get a jab in to deal with it. But honey, I'm 30. I'm not looking for a hookup. Being pretty isn't enough anymore. I'm looking for someone to share a few more adventures with before I'm old. I want someone to put effort into it and actually take interest in my passions and goals. I want a partner, not someone that thinks they're a trophy. Dating is a nightmare. I'm telling you, if I have to go through one more talking phase, I'm just gonna become a hermit. Like you said, people on dating sites, etc. are more times than not just extremely shallow and bland. Might be better off just waiting until you stumble across someone while grocery shopping or something. Story 7. I had a huge crush on this girl in high school. Tried hanging out with her for close to a year, always hoping she would see me as something more than just a friend. She didn't say yes right away, but she did say yes. I quickly figured out that she was going to prom because she was excited to go to prom, not because she wanted to go with me. I lost interest after that and started dating another girl. Interestingly enough, it was a girl that I danced with at that prom who told me while we were dancing that she really liked me. Are you still together? No, but she was a really cool girl. We dated for a while and had a lot of fun. The other one, the one I had a big crush on and took to prom, got back in touch with me after I broke up with my girlfriend. Apparently she was kinda jealous that I was dating another girl and not giving her any attention anymore. She started calling me all the time again and wanted to possibly start dating, but I had already gotten over her, so nothing happened. Wow, for once it's the girl fumbling the bag in these stories. That's a cool change. Dating in high school is so trivial and just weird. You can't really hold it against her for her being excited for prom more, but it was such a low blow from her. Story 8. Let me tell you about the girl I dated before I met my wife. We dated for 2 years. She was smoking hot and we had some similar interests, so it kinda clicked. She loved me. She wanted to be with me all the time. She wanted to keep other people away from me. I slowly drifted away from my circle of friends as she preferred to stay in rather than go out. For reasons I will never understand, she was constantly worried that my friends' girlfriends were interested in me. They were not. She thought my male friends were shallow. So over time, my wide circle of friends became the dot of only her. She did not like my family at all. She thought we were always judging her and somehow scheming various things secretly behind her back. They were not. In the end, I chose my friends and family over her, because they are part of who I am, and if she could not accept them, how could she love the person I really am? If she doesn't respect your friends, and especially family, and wants to keep you far from them, then she doesn't really respect you either. You did the right thing there, bud. Story 9. When I was in high school, one of the hottest girls jumped into my arms, kissed me, and asked me to be her boyfriend. I thought it was a joke and said no. I rejected her because I was an oblivious idiot. To all the teens that may be reading this, shoot your shot. If a girl or boy you like is paying attention to you and you catch a vibe, stop thinking and go for it. But why though? It was a long time ago. But I was probably thinking it was too good to be true. We would flirt a lot, but I didn't think she was into me. We stopped talking after that. And that's when it clicked and I was like, oh. That's gonna be the worst one. I myself am an oblivious idiot. But if a girl jumped in my arms and kissed me, there's no way it wouldn't have clicked right then and there. Story 10. We were friends, liked her, asked her out, got rejected. A year or so of puberty later, apparently I was now handsome, and she asked me out. But in the interim, I figured out she was lazy, moochy, all take and no give, and her family was way too religious. So I ended up shaking my head and saying, I don't think that's for the best. Flash forward 10 years. The most recent conversation I had with her tried to convince me to pay her $50 in exchange for a head. Last I heard, she was having issues with drugs. Mostly just made me sad. Yikes, that is sad. Story 11. My friend commented on her when we walked through the door. He fixated on her immediately. Dude just would not stop staring at her. About an hour later, she walked up and asked me to dance with her while his back was turned. I was stunned, but I'm also a good friend. So I told her it would really make my friend's night if she danced with him instead. They both danced while I silently kicked myself. The girl was prettier than anyone who's ever talked to me. And even though it was over 15 years ago, I still think about it today. I swear that guy better still be your friend. You are the best friend I've ever read about. Story 12. I dated a few gorgeous women in the past. Some lacked personality, the rest verged on psychosis, literally picking fights if I talked to other female types. After a few of those, I quit dating. Done. No hookups, no blind dates, nothing. Then I met my wife. I was instantly overwhelmingly attracted to her, and I was terrified of how I felt about her. I spent the first year waiting for the other shoe to drop. Long story short, been together for 10 years. Married for 8.5. She's my better half, my best friend, and just the right amount of crazy to compliment me. She's perfect. Aw. I swear, there's just one girl for every guy that drives him absolutely insane in the best way possible. Story 13. Being pretty can only get you so far. Personality keeps it going. The girl I like is absolutely gorgeous. Her personality is what's keeping me so into her beyond how she looks. She's the only person I can have long conversations with. Now, if only I was gorgeous and had a good personality. Story 14. Because I was too afraid to say yes when she asked me to dance, a pretty girl in a bar saw me standing against the wall by myself and invited me onto the floor with her hips. Too nervous about looking like a fool dancing to accept. Stupid. But in the interim, I met my now wife. Way hotter in my opinion. And we just had a baby, so things worked out. See, sometimes not wanting to dance can work out. Story 15. First date, she spent the entire time gossiping about a bunch of people, including a good friend of mine. In the course of one day, she went from the hottest girl in my mind to a slightly repulsive girl. I'm not sure if that counts as rejecting, but I avoided her like the plague after that. She certainly seemed into me, but I wasn't interested. Story 16. Her personality was rotten. My friends thought I was crazy that I didn't at least tap at once since I could have easily. But I was raised better than that. She gets taken advantage of enough from the rest of the world. I didn't want to give it any hope. Shame how someone's childhood can destroy a person even if they're gorgeous. We need more guys like you. Yeah, it sucks growing up without your dad. Story 17. She was tapped. Despite being gorgeous, she was a freaking psycho. A nice psycho where she would do anything for me, but psycho nonetheless. What does tap mean in this context? It means you generally can't activate her abilities until the next turn. A man of culture. Story 18. Because I was into the slightly less pretty girl who I was also friends with, and who actually seemed to care about me other than for physical reasons. People care about you for physical reasons? Why is my spelling so bad? You did your best. Story 19. Not sure. The woman I married is my pretty girl. Maybe not everyone would agree. Maybe some would. Either way, she's a fighty tomboy with big old brown eyes. That makes me laugh, and heck if that isn't the best darn thing ever. This guy is one. Story 20. She misunderstood I like to read as I'm wealthy and tried asking for expensive things. I'm a man, not a wallet. Were you reading the Wall Street Journal? Story 21. Because her soul was a garbage can. You're gonna regret that when you're carrying an empty bag of Doritos for 40 minutes and not a trash can in sight. Story 22. We were completely opposites. I was a reverse person and she was an extrovert. I felt like it wouldn't value her choices. Well, in a way I did not, but I never told her. Mind you, we were good friends. This was almost 6 years ago. Story 23. Because the first words out of her mouth were, "I smell Coke on you." I was in fact not carrying Coke at the time. Pepsi guy, eh? Story 24. Another pretty girl beat her to it by several years. The first pretty girl became my wife. Aw, that's cute. Story 25. Because I figured my husband would probably disapprove. I was looking for this comment and it was better than I expected. Story 26. Because she would only create more problems than I already had. Story 27. Being pretty is not everything. Not being a toxic jerk is more important. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more videos to come, or else this spider will be in your bed tonight.